Hello everyone, I am Nea, and in this little video I want to share with you all guys my old prediction, my own prediction that came true. I was so shocked the other day because this is one of my old book of shadows. I was always, as you know, into witchcraft and into tarot because my mom taught me spells, and when I was a kid taught me spells and tarot as well because she can read them, and it passes through our generation of women because also my grandmother used to do this stuff. And I just didn't remember that at some point in my study of tarot 10 years ago I started making a little bit of journal to write down basically my prediction. And now I'm almost 30, 10 years has gone, and I read this prediction again and I was just shocked because they all came true. And I did this prediction, basically I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory for you guys. So in case you're learning tarot or you want to take my e-course learning tarot, you are the oracle, where I teach you guys all my experience of 20 years basically of using tarot, my own interpretation, how to use the pendulum, how to communicate with your spirit guides and angel, how to manifest with tarot, all of that fun stuff. It's over there in my e-course that is still on sale, by the way. So what happened to me, for those of you who want to learn tarot, is that when I was a kid I had this only one tarot that I think my mother gave me because we found it in a book. It was something like that. So I was studying tarot and I was around, like, come on, 10 years old, 11 years old, something like that. And it only had the major arcana, and this is how I started. I was only reading the major arcana because for me the major arcana were the fundamental parts of tarot. Not only they symbolize, like I said in my video, Learn Tarot in 30 Minutes, they symbolize the journey of the soul, but they're very important because every time we see a major arcana come in a reading, it symbolizes a major event, a karmic almost event, a pre-fated, we could say, event in the prediction of a person. So that's how I started to learn it. And then through another witch that I met later on in my life when I was in high school, she was always using this incredible tarot deck and she was always very spot on. And so later on, one of my ex-boyfriend gave this to me, I think, or I purchased it by the time I was with this guy, but I think this guy gave it to me, and then another friend of mine gave me the same tarot, like those sort of synchronistic. In fact, I had two of these, and one I gave it to Arcana last year, and this was the first tarot that I ever used, and especially this is the first tarot, not the first tarot that I ever used, the first tarot that I took absolutely seriously. And this is the first one that I also used for clients, because before I was only doing tarot for myself, for my study, and obviously for my best friend. In fact, this book was given by my best friend when I was 16. So the prediction that you're gonna see in this book are made with the major arcana and are not made with this one, but this one was highly significant, and that's why I wanted to show you guys. It's called the Enoil Gavat. It is an Italian tarot and an Egyptian based one. Why is it important that for me was an Italian tarot? Because like I said in my video Learn Tarot in 30 Minutes, the history of tarot was born, yes, in the Middle East, because tarot, or actually playing cards, traditionally were born in the Middle East. Then they were brought to Italy when actually those playing cards became a storytelling game that we all know as tarot, and later on developed the occultism and their occult meaning in France. If you are familiar with the Gospel of Aradia, paganism, and who was the first witch, we all know that Aradia came from Italy, and the Gospel of Aradia was in fact written by a witch from Florence and from Italy. So I was very, very proud to have this Italian tarot, and we have a history of that, and I'm very, very proud of that because if you don't know, guys, I'm Italian. All right, so this is my first book of shadow, and I wrote like a bunch of spell over here and things that I learned, because here's the thing. I had another book of shadow where I was writing basically everything down, and it's all old. It's probably at my mom's place. I just don't remember what it is. This is the second one that my best friend gave me when I was 16, because the other one was like really, really big, was like this. And in this one, I decided that it was pointless for me to to write down spells or tarot or prediction that weren't coming true. So I really wanted to make sure that everything that went in this one was something that I tested, I experimented, and I knew it was working out. I don't know why I was like this, but when I was a kid, I was like a seeker of the supernatural. I was obsessed with, like a scientist, I was obsessed with making sure that if I was doing a spell or I was doing what is called now manifestation, I was studying the runes of the tarot, that I collected all the information, and before I write it down in a precious book like the Book of Shadows, everything was working. So in this lovely book, I dedicated, first of all, the book, and probably around this dedication, I was probably 15 or 16. I did it, it's in Italian, so you guys probably cannot read it. I dedicated the book to Aradia, and I dedicated the book to the triple goddess and to all the guardians of the watching towers. So that is what I did. And then I dedicated also the book with some prayers to Mother, Father, God. I did some prayers to the goddess and to Father God, and also I explained basically all the fundamentals to have a circle, how to protect yourself before you do tarot. And I mean, it's so awesome. I was so like, you know, schematic. Life path number 4, you all guys. And then I was talking about the guardian of the watching towers, the wind, the invocation to the elements, and various spells of various kind, even seal spells and everything that I have tried, which is so funny to read right now because I don't even use this stuff anymore. And then I also wrote the study of the runes, because when I was a kid, I used to go to the woods with some of my friends and take like stones and make runes out of them, because I found it was a lot more personal. It wasn't even like precious crystals or anything like that, it was just runes. But let's get to the core of this video. I'm talking too much. My prediction that came true, let's read them because this book is full of everything. So alright, this was the first prediction that I wrote down. I made others obviously before, but I just don't remember. So if you are a beginner and you're studying tarot through my course or through anyone else, it doesn't matter, writing down a journal is essential, because you're gonna have moments like this even 10 years later when you're gonna be like, did my prediction actually came true? And if it did, isn't that awesome? It means that you crack the matrix in a way, because I really believe that time is an illusion, and at the end of the day, when we are seeing, or even with my dreams and my abilities, when I see certain stuff, I honestly feel the future doesn't exist. It's only overlapping in a system, in a grid that is already existing, and you just tap into it. You crack the matrix like an hacker. That's what we are. We are the anonymous of the psychic world. Isn't that cool? Anyway, without random, this was written the 2 of February 2010, and isn't it so weird that I'm recording this in February? Like, what the heck? I had probably like energetically I have something about tarot that recalls me on February, like, or something like that. And I made like a huge spread. I don't know if you guys can see it now. Obviously it's in Italian, so I will try to make it short for all of you guys so I don't bore you, but here's the thing. In this tarot card that I did 10 years ago in 2010, I just asked about my life purpose, like many of you ask, and I just asked in general what was going to happen in my life with all my lifetime. In fact, as you can see, I made a huge spread, which I can do also for my clients if you guys require it, but I mean, there isn't a reading out there yet because it's very complicated to do this, but you see, these are all the phases of a lifetime. It's a very deep spread. And as the first card, I had the Empress. Little did I know that the Empress represents Taurus and represents Venus, which not only is my sun sign, but I have a Venus exalted in Pisces, so that makes a lot of sense that the Empress came out. And the Empress talks about having a role of leadership and talks about being the entrepreneur of your life, which makes so much sense with what I later on did in my life, because not mentioning YouTube, I was the front woman of a band. I was even the manager of that band, and I was always doing something that defined entrepreneurship or digital entrepreneurship in a way, and that gave me abundance in that sense, like the Empress is. And the Empress, being number 3 in the tarot, also represents creativity. In fact, I always felt I was very, very creative, and if you know a little bit about astrology, Venus in Pisces is a very creative position to have. No bragging whatsoever. I am sure there are other conjunctions or things that are very creative, and I'm referring to Vedic astrology because this is what I follow the most. I follow Vedic astrology. So in this, what I actually predicted more than anything, I predicted who I was going to marry, which is very, very odd, because back in the days I wasn't that interested in getting married. I mean, it was 2010, but for somehow I predicted that I would have had victory obtained through a King of Pentacles. So I predicted that I was going to have some sort of victory or accomplishment after marriage, which is so odd because I had a reading with Bridget that does Vedic astrology. Shout out to Bridget, love everyone, she's amazing. And she told me this. She told me in your Navamsha, which is D9 and is one of the most important chart in the divisional chart in Vedic astrology, you are going to have more success, which could be in anything. I'm not talking about YouTube, after marriage, and you're going to have accomplishment after that because of millions of conjunction that she told me, and I'm not gonna say it, just go to her. I don't know anything about astrology. And it's so weird because, and I'm seeing this at 11:11 again, this number is tormenting me right now, and this has happened. But moreover, you could say, come on, this could happen in any prediction. Hold on a second. I also predicted that I was going to have complication and fights with friends and colleagues after the success. And I don't know if you remember my drama with Star or my drama with some people around me. Like, that was a lot. By the way, we're cool now, and I'm so happy we clarified everything. So that's gone, but that happened. So I'm sorry if I have to mention you, like I mean, it's something I'm just very honest, I cannot lie to you guys. So that happened. Fights with friends, absolutely, and complication. And so I was advising myself to have prudence because difficult moments would have arrived to compromise what I was obtaining, and I had to fight. So I predicted myself that I was a fighter since the beginning, which happened throughout my life. And if you guys are a life path number 4, you probably know what I'm talking about. So this has happened, but here is the thing that I actually predicted that is the most juiciest part of all. I predicted that my husband would have been a Knight of Pentacles. His sign would have been of Aquarius or like even a moon in Scorpio, and it would have been somebody foreigner and somebody that has black eye and black hair. Now I know this sounds so vague, but it's even written in my chart, in my astrology, that I was going to marry a foreigner. And if you looked at the profile of Him, he has black eyes and black hair, and he is of the sign of Aquarius, cusp Pisces, and he has a moon in Scorpio. So I just couldn't believe when I read this that all of this came true 10 years later. It's just crazy. Then other prediction that I did, another one that I wrote down was the 5th of January 2013. I have never made a lot of prediction for myself and neither a lot of reading. That is because my mother taught me that you shouldn't stress the tarot. Once you get a prediction from an astrologer or a very capable tarot reader, you have to take it for at least a year or 6 months. You should never become addicted and neither stress the tarot, because either they're going to confuse you or they're always going to tell you the same thing. So it's completely pointless. And that's how I did. I honestly never asked a prediction. Guidance, yes, but guidance is something completely different. You just go to your angels and you ask for guidance, but prediction, very, very rarely. So I did another one in 2013, and in this one I was basically talking about changes coming in my life of all kinds and artistic abilities. And I predicted, I'm sorry that I cannot read it for you guys because it's in Italian, but I predict like a certain realization and a certain success, even though it might have been delayed, and even though I would have succeeded, that wouldn't have lasted. And the success that I was predicting was about artistic ability. And it's so weird because my first EP came out, I think in 2013, but then my actual first album with a record label came later, and this is what brought me huge success, this album and the other one that I've done, because they were real labels. The first label that I had was like an indie label. It wasn't a big thing. And let's see if there is like a date over this album or something like that. My band was called Psychedelic Witchcraft. Okay, wow, I made this prediction in 2013, and my first EP, not even the one with the record label, was the 7th of April 2015. Like, I just cannot bloody believe it. Like, I predicted like interior growth. I'm gonna read it all for you guys. The first album, so must have been later on. Oh my god, hold on, I search it for you guys. Psychedelic Witchcraft albums. My first album, The Vision, this one was in 2016, and I predicted success and artistic abilities in 2013. And I can assure you guys, I know this is a bit goes with faith, but I wasn't interested in music whatsoever in 2013. Like, I wasn't singing, and neither I was able to play an instrument, because I started playing an instrument after I did a heavy operation on my vocal cords, because I couldn't speak anymore and it wasn't related to singing. And if I made my first album in 2015, sorry, my memory sucks, I learned guitar 4 months before writing an album, because I learned guitar through accessing the Akashic Records, which is in my video, access the Akashic Records, in 4 months. And after those 4 months, I wrote an EP, and then my career just basically took off with all the albums that I did and the concert and so on. So I wasn't interested in music whatsoever in 2013, because I was studying acting before that, and I'm sorry, I'm going to chase the sun just like this, and I was studying acting, so music wasn't in my list. So wow, I'm predicting myself in 2013 that I will enter the art world. I will have an incredible transformation, and because this wouldn't last a long time, I will learn how to grow internally and spiritually with a lot of patience and dedication. And I will learn to be more flexible, and yeah, in here, basically, in a nutshell, I'm predicting a lot of patience, because I'm not gonna have instant like gratification. It will be a slow transformation that will be very much on the internal world, and this is and I'm gonna have a secret lover, which is so true, because one of the person that in the music business that I approached for the first time was a very famous metal singer, and it was something that nobody knew, and people found out later on. Now I'm not gonna do metal gossip right now, but this has happened. This really has happened, and it's music, philosophy, and art, and it didn't last a long time. Like, I've been a professional musician since 2015. From 2018, I guess 2019, before I started the YouTube channel. So this has all happened. I'm just crazy. I'm not gonna bore you to death with all the prediction. Now over here I have another prediction. Let's skip it and let's see if we have another date over here. 8th December 2015. So let's see what I predicted over here. Oh right, in this I predicted again success and victory and recognition of some kind, which I did have with the music. Yeah, I predicted to myself that from 2015 was my time to shine, which really has happened through my music. And I also basically predicted this. All right, this is very, you need to focus on a single goal, which is so true. Like, I've been recently a master, like a person that is very enlightened, has told me that I have to focus only on one single goal and stop spreading all my talents, sorry my camera, spreading all my talents around. That it's very important that I stay focused, and I do remind myself to this in 2015. And also I predicted myself that I was going to be with a guy that is like somebody that believes is an amazing musician, but in actuality has an alcohol problem, and I should have been aware and away from this person. Well, for people that know who was one of my ex-boyfriend, which I'm not gonna name him, he was a famous musician in the metal scene, famous, but he believed he was so much better than what he was, and even though we're still friends and it's all good, he did suffer from an alcoholic problem, and I should have definitely avoided that situation in the first place. And it's crazy how I warned myself of this and I didn't listen. So if you guys are doing prediction to yourself, listen to your higher self, listen to your higher guidance, because it's telling the truth. If it's telling you stay away from a certain individual, even if you don't know that person yet, watch out. Not because I want to scare you, but because I didn't listen. And again, I do predict to myself this Page of Pentacles, this young guy with black hair and black eyes, and this was going to bring my dream coming true, and so to watch out for him and not for someone else. And yeah, well, that happened. And I don't know whether or not what I predicted in terms of success, it's gonna happen on YouTube or it's gonna happen somewhere else. I think we have to redefine what success really means, because if we're looking at success as having an incredible bank account, an incredible job, whatever job you think is incredible, or having followers and views on YouTube, I don't know whether that is success. I really, through this inner transformation and inner growth, I learned that success is how much you learn. Success is how much you are really doing a work of service for others, but not just in a way where I'm on YouTube, I'm doing a work of service, but in a way where if you feel that somebody needs you, you are there for that person and you really mean it. You're not doing it because out of a reward that you expect from the universe. I really learned that success, it's about the way you feel, and it's about how much joy you feel each and every day, how much grateful you feel for your life. Because back in the days when I was doing those predictions, I was a person that I was very young. 2010, I was 20, 19, 20. I wanted to thrive in my life. I wanted, later on in 2015, I wanted to do music, then I wanted to do acting, and I did it and I made it and I was very, very successful at it. But through that success, I realized that I wasn't happy, that I didn't want to be in that show business, that it was far away from what my soul wanted. And now that I'm alone with the camera in my garden and my husband is doing yoga and meditation, I feel so much happy and so grateful. I don't have perhaps a lot of money to travel the world, but I think I will. I will always be provided by God. I think I will always be fine because I found myself again. And I never thought I would have gone to India, and I fell in love with India, and I sell some of my clothes and some of my stuff, I gave it away, and now I'm living such a simple life, but I'm so full of joy. So the prediction that I've made that I was going to have success and victory, well, I think it came true. I really feel successful, and I think I really feel victorious when it comes down to my journey so far. Obviously, I'm sure there are going to be challenges, conjunction, astrology, retrogrades, or whatever, but I don't know. I feel that I found myself, and that's the most important thing that I have learned, and I consider that a success. So I wanted to share for you guys this method of writing down your own prediction and telling you a little bit of my story, and it's so freaking cool that my prediction came true. Now share and comment down below whether or not your prediction or the prediction of someone else came true. I would love to hear you guys. I would love to hear if you have a book of shadows like I did, and if you're interested in my spells that are written right here in runes, or whatever were my first books that I ever read in witchcraft. Just let me know in the comment section down below. I apologize if this vlog was a little bit random with me moving the camera and the light, but we keep it real over here, okay? So here's what I have for you guys, and see you on the next video. And thank you so much for being here with me, and keep in mind, you're never wrong if you follow love.